A very good morning, Zimbabwe. Welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. My name is Ronald Uekwamakusha. So we are continuing to give you live updates about what is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe. And let us take a look on new measures which were announced by Mthuli recently. So let us start by the introduction of a new tax threshold which was announced by Mthuli, and we need to take a look onto this report right here from Newsday Zimbabwe. And according to the Newsday Zimbabwe, they are talking about the finance minister Mthuli saying that the Zimbabwe government is going to introduce 0.02 tax for every dollar leaving the country to ensure forex availability locally, as the state desperately tries to protect the Zimbabwe gold ZiG currency introduced a few weeks ago. This is something bad for the government. When you see reports like this, it's bad for the people of Zimbabwe. It doesn't sit well with the people of Zimbabwe, and we need to take a look onto this whole thing and explain the implications of this move made or taken by Mthuli. So Mthuli, when he was appointed minister, he was regarded as a technocrat, was regarded as somebody with vast experience and vast knowledge about monetary principles, financial principles, and fiscal principles. But right now, it seems as if he's actually failing to deliver or to do what he's supposed to do. So I'm going to explain the implications of the actions of Mthuli, and let us get through this. What is happening at this moment in time is that 0.02 per every dollar rabuda richienda kunze kwenyika. It's not me and you who are going to feel the pain. Iwewe nene tinogona kusanzwa pain iyoyo because our money is little, and at times we don't even have enough to move out of Zimbabwe. But the person who is going to feel the pain is the whole economy. That is what is going to be affected, because businesses makes transactions. So if a transaction is being made to South Africa, if a transaction is being made to China, a transaction is being made to any other country, and 0.02 is charged per dollar, what would be 0.02 of a million? That is a very important question. And who is going to feel the pain more? So if you do the calculations, if you do the mathematics very well, you will understand that companies will start to face challenges. And what will the companies do to avert or to deal with this? That is what is very important to note. When things like this start to happen, there are things which companies do to make sure that they save their money. First and foremost, they will have agents outside Zimbabwe who will say, for somebody who is in Dubai, they will have accounts mostly in countries where they operate. This is how companies operate when they want to evade something, and it has been happening. So if they have transactions in the UK, they'll gather people in the UK and say, we are going to remove charges on every transaction you send to Zimbabwe. And the people will say, okay, wow, I'm going to save 10 pounds, 20 pounds for the transactions I'm going to make. So they will gather in UK. They will have a bank account in UK where money will be deposited into that account. The moment money reflects in the UK account, kuno Zimbabwe, somebody is given cash. Ipapo. So if 100 pounds is deposited into an account in UK, an equivalent of 100 pounds will be paid here in Zimbabwe. It's the same money which was supposed to be moved out of Zimbabwe to another country. And what are they evading? 0.02. At the end of the day, you will see that it's the government which is going to lose, because the way transactions are made, mari angaifana kuya as remittances in Zimbabwe, it will be kept there. Kunoku mari yakungotenderera zviri unofficial. What it means is you continue to have more money on the black market than on the formal markets. It means money will not get into the banks. Banks will fail to settle my transactions because they have my correspondence bankings or banking relationships, where if I am in Zimbabwe and I want to send money to United Kingdom, there is a corresponding bank in the United Kingdom which is settling my transactions on behalf of my bank, Zimbabwe. Those activities will fail to happen. And, that is the reason why you are seeing the banking sector in Zimbabwe crashing, is because of such policies. So let us take a look onto the second issue right here, or let us just take a look onto the whole policy which was presented by Mthuli. I hope and believe that I'll be able to quickly do so. So let me try to find this whole thing. I'm not so sure where I placed it, but let me check Panapa quickly so that we can be able to deal with it. Okay. This is the statement from the Minister of Transport. I'm trying to find the statement from the Minister of Finance. So you see, yes, here's the press statement. This is the one we need to take a look on so that we get to understand. So let us have an overall view of this statement from the minister. So he was talking about the transition from the Zim dollar era to the ZiG era. And the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion then is pleased to announce the transition from Zimbabwean dollar to the new currency. This followed, or this was complementing the monetary policy which was issued by the governor of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe on 5th of April 2024. And Statutory Instrument 60 of 2024, presidential powers, temporary measures, legalized and operationalized the new currency. And then the government and banks immediately then started transitioning to these new currency arrangements. So, what is very important is to know that Mthuli reaffirms that ZiG is gold-backed currency, but you hear new policies coming on Shara. We are introducing 0.02 so as to make sure that ZiG does not fall, or so as to protect ZiG from what, when you are actually using gold as a backup. This is a clear confirmation by Mthuli that there is no gold backing the currency as claimed by the government. And also, is that they said this is supported by a pool of gold and foreign exchange reserves at the RBZ, which is more than adequate to back the local currency money supply in circulation. So if you have reserves, you don't need to worry with what people have in their storage. If you have if the grain, this is an example, if the GMB does have enough reserves for the country to eat for the full year, if I have what I have in my own reserve, the government must not come to impose a tax on my own reserves, because this is not what is with you. This is what is with me. You have not accounted what I have. So how do you know that, how do you place restrictions on my own transactions? How did you get to the conclusion that if I make my own transaction, everything will be affected? And, this is a true testimony that these people are not serious, these people are not ready, and these people will not do what they are supposed to do to make sure that they do these things in the sense of true economics, or in the sense of better policies. So you see that they've exposed themselves, and this statement right here, if you take a look onto this whole statement, and if you take a look onto the articles, the Iripa screen of 0.02 for every dollar leaving Zimbabwe, then you get to understand that these people are confused. These people are not telling the truth, and Zimbabwe is also heading for another disaster. So for how long are we going to have this happening to the people of Zimbabwe without consequences? We do not know, but imminently we are going to see the currency crashing. We are going to see the economy failing to continuously respond economically, and that will be the crash of the economy. So we always make these videos so as to talk about these issues so that the authorities know that what they are doing is not right, what they are doing is not correct. And in the sense of good economics, you cannot charge 2% tax on monies which are being paid outside Zimbabwe, because people does have transactions which they need to settle. Zimbabwe relies more on imports than exports, which means it's Zimbabwe which is going to suffer. It's the people of Zimbabwe which are going to suffer, or who are going to suffer. And the government offers nothing. They just collect taxes. They offer nothing of value to the economy or to the country thereafter, which is so problematic. If we had a government which would collect taxes and make those taxes meaningfully develop the economy, we were going to have a buffer. But because we don't have that, there's a problem. And because of so many leakages which are there, it's going to be very difficult for the government to implement this successfully and benefit the economy. I explained how the companies and individuals are going to connive and work together to make sure that they stop all these things, because these companies have been doing it and they will continue to do it. They will have my accounts, kunana UK, kunana China, kunana South Africa, where people will simply deposit money, provide a proof of payment, and an agent in Zimbabwe will pay cash without charges. It has been happening, and with these things coming into place, then you see further collapse of the banking sector. So the banking sector has collapsed and is no longer viable. It's now relying on bank charges. It's no longer a profitable industry in the sense of banking. It's now making money from making sure that every dollar ataiso bengiro vanoritora. That is the reason why people are no longer interested in banking. People are angry at the banking sector in the nation of Zimbabwe. So this is the update. Mthuli will be announced that 0.02 is coming on each and every dollar sent outside Zimbabwe. The major question is, what is your take?